So this is a Wife Material Podcast, episode 20, Basic Standards for Being a Modern Wife. A lot of these standards are, pretty much old. I am traditional, so I do have traditional standards, but I am flexible. I'm willing to, compromise with my standards, my traditional standards, because, modern times, right? Things are different, so I'm going to more likely be interacting with, my wife is more likely going to be more of a modern wife than a traditional wife, so I have to adjust my traditional requirements and standards to meet the new market, as they say, so, the modern market. So, things that to account that, most women are not going to be virgins, especially in the West. That's going to be very rare, but it is a standard. So let me run through the what we're going to talk about in this podcast, which is these are just some basic standards. Obviously, this is just to give you an idea. You can always obviously add more to this on your own. Being a virgin being the first thing, or low body count. Under 5 is better, but 10, I can work with 10 or less. I can be flexible with that. Plus, there's I'll get back to that. Let's continue. No kids, high school diploma minimum, right? If you have a college degree or some other training, that's cool. Just at least a minimum of a high school diploma. Better than a GED. I prefer a high school diploma than a GED. Just my preference. Job, preferably in a service category, not necessarily an office job. Something more like a McDonald's job, for example. Financial education, you gotta be good with money. You can't just only know how to spend it, and that's the only financial education you have is spending money. You need to be smarter than that when it comes to money. Basic survival skills, stuff like first aid kit. If somebody gets hurt, steps on a nail, gets cut or something, you should at least know how to use a bandage. Hydroperoxide, things of that nature. Know some basic first aid. Stuff like fishing, hunting, camping. Basic camping skills will be helpful, because you never know, you may end up in a situation where you need to know these skills, right? So basic survival skills come in handy. Self-defense, that should inherently be a survival skill that everyone should have. Everyone should be able to defend themselves, both male and female. Men already inherently going to develop self-defense. Women, you need to do it too. This whole idea of not defending yourself and relying on cops or men to protect you. It's no, protect yourself first and foremost. Right, your body, your choice, so make the choice to defend yourself. Then there's the health and fitness training. Eating healthy is important, period. Right? It is, again, your body, your choice, right? So you should choose to eat healthy. Do not buy products, right? Do not go to fast food restaurants, so on. Don't eat stuff, right, that you don't know for a fact is good for you. Don't just eat something and be like, companies know what's best for us. I can eat this bag of chip and not worry that it has rat poison in it or has crack cocaine in it or something. I don't have to worry about that because companies won't ever do that to me. Right. Then you don't know the world if you don't know that kind of stuff. So again, healthy eating, fruits, vegetables, meat, fitness training, fit, right? It's good to be healthy. It's hard to claim you're a strong woman when you literally can't lift heavy things. So fitness, at least exercise for the purpose of actually being strong, not necessarily being skinny. Fit doesn't mean skinny, right? There's a lot of skinny women that aren't strong, right? So fit just means fit, right? Just actually being athletically healthy is what I'm referring to with fitness. So, as long as you are strong and you look good to to your husband, right? That's the most important person, right? Especially for this podcast. looking good. Then there's okay, so that's what I have so far. For the list. So let's start off with the virgin thing. Not much to say there, other than the fact that you might want to have a low body count. But here's my viewpoint on sex. Right, is the fact that there's sex, right? There's reproduction, making babies, and then there's love, right? Those three things are different. Some people do show love through sex, but you can love somebody without sex, obviously. That's the point. So there's love, making love, right? And then there's sex, which is just you got the sexual urge, but you don't want to have babies, right? You have the sexual urge, but you don't want to reproduce. But you got the urge, but you don't want to reproduce. You don't want to have kids. So that's why it's called sex, right? Sex, and then there's reproduction. Reproduction is making babies. Right? Most people just want to have sex. They don't want to reproduce. But since sex, the act of sex can equal reproduction, because in order to reproduce, you kind of have to have sex, right? You have to, right? In order for it to happen, there's that, and that's why it creates a problem where if you're having sex a lot, especially as a female, you run the risk of getting pregnant, aka you run the risk of reproducing, and you can end up reproducing with the wrong guy, which tends to happen a lot. See, it's nothing wrong with having sex with the wrong guy. It's reproducing with the wrong guy that's the problem. Right? Now we have stuff like condoms, abortions, Plan B, birth control. You get your tubes tied, this, that, and the third. I think I heard a while back that you could potentially get your tubes tied, right? And then you could get it untied. I don't know that for a fact. It's just a thought that I had that could be a possibility. So you could consider that. Consider getting your tubes tied, then have your ocular summer, and then and then when you're ready to be wifey, right, then get it untied, and when you find your husband type of thing. I don't know. I'd rather you keep penis out your vagina until you find your husband, but that's literally asking too much. But I recommend it. It works. It's a solution. It might not be the solution, but it's definitely a solution to keep your vagina in a mint condition for your husband. Now here's another thing: is you should choose to want to be a wife. Like, you don't have to be a wife, right? It's a path. It's like when you were in high school and you had to choose between going to college or getting a job or joining the military. It was a choice, right? Ironically, I tried all three. I did the job, I did the military, and I did the college thing. So the irony of that, right? I did all three choices. But the point is to be a wife, you choose that, right? You don't just one day and luckily become a wife. No, that's a choice. You choose to be a wife, which means you prepare yourself to be a wife, and then of course you have to be chosen by a guy, but you have to make yourself available to a guy who wants a wife. Then, since you train to be a wife, right? You prepare yourself to be a wife. You chose to be a wife. When the guy who wants a wife, sees you, y'all talk, get to know each other. One thing leads to another, and bang, he proposes, and now you're his wife. That's what he's supposed to be. You're supposed to prepare to be a wife, right? Some women out here they just like the idea of like someday somebody will choose them to be a wife. But the thing is, unless you choose yourself first to be a wife and train to be a wife, right? Prepare yourself to be a wife, to be in the position. Because you gotta understand, you are going from being single, being by yourself, doing things for yourself, being selfish, to being selfless. When you become a wife or you get in a relationship with a man or a woman, modern times, however way that works, right? Point is, when you try to get into a relationship with someone else, you are no longer just you. It's y'all, right? It's we, not me. So most women, modern women, tend to be about me. Men still, being traditional, still see things as an us. So that's why men try to get a woman and, try to keep her around as long as he possibly can, for the us factor, for the we factor, right? We, not me. Because men can easily, all day, every day, be independent, strong, independent, blah, 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 like how modern women like to say. Say they're strong, independent, they don't need no man. Men could do that all day, every day. They could have done, and they could do that for thousands of years. For thousands of years of human existence, men could have been all day, every day. Oh yeah, we don't need no women, blah, 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 strong, independent, all that nonsense, right? But we don't. We don't choose to be independent. We'd rather be dependent on each other, right? We'd rather be in a relationship than to be single. It's boring being single. It's boring, to a certain degree. Some people would disagree, like, oh no, it's awesome being single. I don't know. You're talking about it's awesome to be single, having a single life, right? Single life as in you going around dating and, interacting with other humans. Single social life. You like the single social life, but at some point, the single social life no longer is going to be a thing. You're going to get to a point in your life where it's like you no longer can have the single life, as they say, or the single social life. You're going to get to a point where it's like, okay, I can't do the single social life or the single life thing no more, or the hot girl summer no more, or the hot boy summer, whatever. I can't do that no more. Now what? Yeah, exactly. Now what? That's the point. You're supposed to be husband and wife so that we have a friend for life, right? You're supposed to go, there's phases in life. You're supposed to go from one phase to the next. You had your child phase, then you got your teenage phase, you got your young adult phase, right, your prime, and then you get into your old age phase, right, old people phase, grandma, phase and stuff like that. Retirement, like, there's all these phases that you go through as a human being. You're supposed to be doing the things that work within that category. So you're supposed to be, if you choose to be a strong, independent woman, right, that's a path you chose. You shouldn't expect a wife to be a path, because that's a separate path. Now, one thing I want to point out, that I advocate for the whole wife aspect of choosing the wife path, is that choosing to be a wife does not mean you can't do things you want to do in life when it comes to, like, if you want to be a music artist, you can be a music artist as a wife. You can be a painter as a wife. You can be an author and write books as a wife. You can be an entrepreneur, a CEO of your own company as a wife. The problem is putting these things that you like first before wife, and then look at wife as less than, as a downgrade from what you like or what you want to do. You start a company, you're the CEO of the company, and when somebody mentions the idea, hey, want to be my wife? And you're like, what? Hell no, I'm a CEO. As if being a CEO is more important than being a wife. And that's the confusion. If anything, it's the same thing. Being a CEO of a company or being a wife is relatively the same thing. Right? So, it's that's the modern times we're in, where women nowadays are looking at being a wife as a bad thing. They're looking at it as if it's a downgrade for a woman. It's a downgrade for womanhood. And it's like, no, it's actually an upgrade. It's a promotion. You go from just being a woman to being a wife. That's an upgrade, right? Just like women out here love referring to themselves as bosses, love to call themselves divas and queens. Yeah, those are titles, right? Those are supposed to be upgrades from just being regular, average at best, right? So being a wife is an upgrade. Being a wife is no different than being a queen, a boss, a diva, whatever. But nowadays, modern times, like, no. Oh, it's because you don't like the fact that the wife title comes with a husband, while being a boss requires you not to have a husband, have a man by your side. Being a queen, even though to be a queen you need a king, but some women don't like to believe that I can be a queen without a king. I'm like, okay, you can believe that, but that's not how that works. That's not why those titles and words exist. They have a meaning for a reason. They mean certain things. I see that happening nowadays, that people are always trying to change the meaning of stuff. Which is why a woman will say she's a CEO when she has an Onlyfans, like, oh, really? Or an Instagram, or an Etsy store where she sells coffee mugs with cat pictures on. It's like, oh, okay, you're a CEO, quote unquote. Right. That's why the word CEO exists for cat mugs. Right. But anyway, I digress. So the point is, right? Get a virgin. Low body count for me is like, as long as you could have been with 1,000 guys, as long as more than 90% of it was just hand jobs, for example. I don't make a big deal that you were with that many guys. You gave out that many hand jobs because it's not that big of a deal, right? I don't pass it. The thing is, that's what I'm saying. I'm flexible, so I can knock down. Because the higher your body count is, the less value you have in my eyes. So that's why it's important that if I can, justify lowering the negative of your body count by being able to justify, like, wait, so that time you had sex with that guy, it was just this activity? Okay, then I don't count that. So then that's not sex for me. Because to me, sex is, to simplify, is vagina sex, right? Because to me, your vagina is for reproduction. It should be saved for, making babies and whatnot. Men don't need the vagina to have sex. They can have sex with every other aspect of your body. Every other activity that you and him do can more than enough satisfy him to release. And that's all he really needs is the release. So that, to me, that's the basicness of sex, right? Reproduction requires a vagina, which is why you don't need to use the vagina all the time, because you're just wearing it out, and it's a very important tool, right? An important part of you that is necessary for reproduction. You might not want to keep using it over and over again, but that's for a different conversation, right? So for me, as long as you didn't use or let men out there use the vagina a lot or at all, then you're meeting my standards, right? So you don't have to necessarily be a virgin, per se, as in not have no sexual contact or interactions with men. Just try to reduce the vagina sex. That's all I'm saying. So a low body count comes in handy, fiberglass. It's definitely good because there's a time gap. There's so many details. I'm not going to go into full detail of like how I'm flexible with the whole virgin aspect. But it's just the fact that we need a standard, right? Like back in the day, it was like women didn't have sex until they got married, and they got married young, so that way they can get as much sex as they could want. If they really want a lot of sex, which most women don't want a lot of sex, but they can get a lot of sex. But it was largely from one guy, which is all you need anyway to be sexually satisfied. Since women don't care about sex as much biologically. Let me rephrase that. Biologically, women don't care about sex as much as men do, because biologically men care about sex because it's a biological thing. If we could choose, like, to be horny or not, we will always choose to not be horny. And so, like, we're so bored. It's like, man, I'm really bored. All right, now I want to have sex. Bang, turn the horniness on. No, guys are horny all the time, and this is just biology. It's not our choice. We don't choose to be horny. What we do about us being horny, that is of course our choice. What we do about it. That's where porn exists, and blah blah blah, and that gets into a different topic. But again, for women, since there's different things that make women happy, different things that women need. So they don't need sex as much because mostly sex is for reproduction. So that's why keep your vagina in as good condition as possible. That's all I'm saying. Less mileage is on there, the better suited you are for a husband. And that's what I'm saying about choosing to be a wife. If you plan to be a wife in the future, then your body count definitely has to be low. That's the whole point. If you don't plan to be a wife, you don't plan to have kids, blah, 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 but you be okay with having a boyfriend, in your old age and stuff like that, then that's fine. Then, have your whole life, right? Have your hot, your hot girl summer, same thing, right? Have your hot girl summer, right? Enjoy your life that way if you're going that path. But if you really want to be a wife and you really like the idea of having kids and being with a really awesome guy and this, that, third, and being happy the old traditional way, women typically was happy. Then you got to plan to be a wife. You got to make yourself super awesome to be picked by your future husband. But you got to take into account that if you want to be a wife, that means you want a husband, which means you want to make sure that your husband is getting the best version of you. The best version of you is going to be the version of you that's like, well, I saved myself for you, husband. I waited for you. I worked hard to find you, to make myself available for you, and you found me, blah, 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 and now we're together. That's the whole idea. That's the thing about being a wife, is that you prepared yourself for that position to be someone's wife and to be the best wife you can be. And sorry to say, ladies, but you're not the best wife if you have way too much experience with many other men. You're not going to be the best wife. That's just the sad truth. No kids, right? That's the next thing. No kids. No baby mama drama. Right? We got to avoid that scenario, because too many women have been in scenarios where they, have a vagina sex. One thing leads to another, and they get pregnant. And even though there's ways to prevent it, ways to reduce it and keep it where they don't get, pregnant, or if they do, ways to prevent them getting pregnant. But if they do get pregnant, there's, abortion. That's an option. There's ways to prevent a child coming into this world by accident. There's ways to prevent that, but most women are not choosing to prevent that. I am, pro-choice, pro-life, not choice. I'm pro-life with a little bit of pro-choice. If you were raped, definitely pro-choice. If you would die giving birth to a child, then yes, pro-choice in those two situations. But if you chose to have sex with a guy and you accidentally get pregnant, you chose that. You chose to get pregnant because you chose to have sex. Sex leads to pregnancy. That's the whole point. And if you let him put his penis in your vagina, you chose to get pregnant. I hate the whole try not to take accountability for that. No. You let him put his penis in your vagina. You chose the outcome of that, which is usually making a baby or an STD. You might want to reduce the chances of getting an STD or a baby. So try to keep penises out of your vagina, babies. That's just common sense. Your body, your choice, right? So make that choice to keep penises out of your vagina for as long as you can until you're ready for babies. No one's ready for STDs. No one wants it, obviously, but babies. Right? Until you're ready for babies, keep the penis out of the vagina. So, no kids, but it's important that you have the ability to have kids. That's very important. So you should still be able to have kids. Not much there to say, just like, because it's not a good idea to have kids and not have both parents involved, especially if you have a son. If the child is a boy, it's a good idea that there's a man there to help raise the child, the boy, so that way the boy can learn the qualities of being a boy. So that's the thing. You got to understand that when you make a baby, you're literally creating a whole new life, a whole new human being. This human being, you're supposed to do everything you can to make sure this human being turns out to be an awesome human being, so that way better decisions are made in the future. I want the future to have less rapists, right? So let's raise the kids to be better. I would like the future to have less criminals. Let's raise the kids to be less criminal, to be better, to not be criminal. And the list goes on and on. Let's raise kids to, raise boys to, respect women. Raise, girls to respect men and vice, like that's the thing. It's up to us. We have the literal capability of creating better human beings than the ones that already exist. A lot of people out here complain about, oh, humans are shitty. People out here shitty. Men ain't shit. Women ain't shit. Blah blah blah. It's like, well, let's make some better ones. Let's get the good guys, the good men that's out here, the good women that's out here, and have them get married. Not necessarily married. Married would be nice, but I mean, like, get together. At least have the good people in this world reproduce. You literally have women who I agree many times were good women, but they kept choosing the wrong guy. They kept being with the douchebags. Not every man is good, just like not every man is bad. The problem is ladies, y'all keep choosing the bad men. That's the point. You can't keep being like, oh no, it's all men's fault. Like it's like, no, there are good men and bad men. Sorry that you keep choosing the bad men, but here's the funny thing is, while you're choosing the bad men, the good men are around you telling you to not be with that bad man, telling you to be with them instead. But you keep turning them out. The good guys do approach you. You just keep friend zoning them or ignoring them. Or you did give him a shot, you did date him, but you treated him like he was a bad guy. You treated him like shit. To the point where it's like, then he left you. And then because he left you, because you were treating him like shit, now you're like, oh, see, good man out here? What? Oh, you think good men take disrespect? You think good men like to be treated like they're pieces of shit? Like they're not human beings? Right? Women would be the first to be like, oh, equality, and everybody needs to be treated like a human being. But they're also the same ones that treat men, who are human beings, by the way, like pieces of shit. Oh, you only make 5 figures a year. You're trash. I only date guys who make 6 figures. Like, what the? Damn, that's okay. You can have your standards, but that's ridiculous. Because one, men don't ask too much from you, so for you to ask for so much from men, it's like, that's ridiculous. And that right there shows disrespect. There's no equality there. Y'all talking about y'all want equality, but then y'all don't give equality. You want a guy who makes millions and millions of dollars, and then for what? Why is he making these millions of dollars for? To give it to you? What makes you think you're so special you deserve access to millions and millions of dollars for? You didn't earn it. He did. So he deserves to have it because he earned it. So if you want access to it, you want to be able to use it, you have to earn it. So you got to do things for him. You want access to his money. You want to use his money. You want access to his private jets, right? If he's that type of guy. His cars, his house. Let's say he has a mansion. You want to live in it. You got to pay the price. Right? You got to work for it. You got to earn it. You don't get to be on a yacht for free. You don't get to be flying around the world in a private jet for free. What kind of bullshit is that? You're not entitled to shit for free. Not in a world that literally revolves around money and resources, give and take, trading. You live in a world where you need money to do stuff, yet you want to do stuff for free. Like, that makes no sense. You gotta pay for it. You want to be with a man, it's gonna cost you. It ain't free to be with a man. Vice versa. It ain't free to be with a woman, obviously. But here's the thing: men already know it's not free to be with a woman. But women, for some reason, don't seem to know that it's not free to be with a man. But they think it is. And that's called entitlement. Thinking that you should get stuff without doing stuff. See, when you deserve something, like when you deserve respect, when you deserve good treatment, when you deserve money and this, that, and the third, it's because you earned it. See, deserving something is earning it. Entitlement means you didn't earn it, but you think you're supposed to get the outcome. It's like getting a paycheck for 2 weeks of work without doing the 2 weeks of work. There's people out here that think they deserve a paycheck without doing the job. But there's people out here who know in order to get a paycheck, they have to do the job. So they have to work 2 weeks to get that 2 week paycheck. There's people out here that's deserved. They deserve the paycheck that they work for. But there's people out here with entitlement where they feel they deserve the paycheck without working. It's like, no, you don't deserve Deserving, you earn. You earn what you deserve. Entitlement is you wanting something for nothing. Something for nothing. And that's not cool. So stop that entitlement bullshit. Earn everything you want. High school, so let's move on from the no baby mama drama. So keep your body count low. You reduce the possibility of you being a baby mama. Right? So high school diploma, a minimum at least. No GED. This is my own personal thing, but it's just something I thought about. It's like, it's like that. If you got, something higher than a high school diploma, that's good. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm not saying that you can't have a PhD, right? But it's the fact that, as a wife, you can get a PhD, right? You can do certain things. We do have online schools and stuff like we have so many things that makes it so easy to do everything you want, literally from home. You can work from home. You can get a PhD from home, right? You can get food delivered from home, right? Like there's so much you can do from home that, there's no reason to be like, I don't want to be a wife because I want to be able to go to work and do this and that. Like, but all the stuff you want to do, you can actually do it from home. I'm not saying you have to stay home. I'm just saying you can do it from home. And you could do a lot of this stuff from your smartphone. So you can literally travel and go around and do things and do things on your phone and stuff like that. So things like you've made it so easy to do whatever you want, but still do the stuff that's like necessary. Like for example, you don't have to go to the grocery stores to order to buy food anymore. So ladies don't have to go to the grocery store. Wives used to go grocery shopping, but you don't have to. Now you can just be on your phone and use like Instacart or something and order stuff. So life is easier, and being a wife is definitely easier. There's way more benefits being a wife now than it used to be back in the day. So that's why it's weird for women to not choose the wife path, even though there's so many more benefits to being a wife now than it was in the past. I want to be a wife. That's how good being a wife is now, that I would like to be a wife. Obviously, they call it house husband. You get my point. It's like, I would like to be a wife. That'd be fucking awesome, right? All the fucking benefits you get for being a wife. It's better than being a husband, that's for sure. Husbands, so much. This is about being a wife, not about being a husband. So let's stay on track. So diploma, some bare minimum. Job. For me personally, you don't have to have a job per se. You don't need a. More likely you will have a job. It'd be hard to not have some type of experience, job experience in this day and age. Hey, make your money, you have bills to pay, that's understandable. But for me, it's not that big of a deal. For most guys, it ain't that big of a deal. Like, as in, we don't look and be like, oh man, she gotta be a nurse. If she's not a nurse, I'm not dating her. Or she has to be the CEO of a company, or I'm not dating her. No, we don't view women that way. Because, like I said, I'm traditional, so I prefer women that don't work, right? Because to me, it's not, it's not something that I look for. When I think of women, I don't think of them as workers, right? As like, oh, they exist to lift heavy things or to do this and to do that. Like, I don't see them that way. I see it differently. I'm more of like, here's money. Why work for money when I can just give you money, right? So that's my viewpoint. So service jobs as opposed to office jobs. I prefer a woman that has experience serving, catering, however way you want to call it, to other people. So jobs like fast food restaurants, for example, like McDonald's, being a waitress, being what is it? Damn, what was that word? I'll say cleaning lady. I'm trying to come up with the fancy term for janitor, essentially. Janitor, yeah, janitorial, custodian, whatever. Cleaning lady, housekeeping, stuff like that. So it's like that type of set of skills. So that type of experience is useful. So that's why I try to keep track of it. Like that kind of stuff is useful. It's like, so, because office jobs is just in front of a computer. That's not much of a skill for me, because we all literally, if you're watching this, you're probably watching this on your phone or on a computer. That's an office job, right? As it were, like not much skill to look at your phone or look at a computer screen. So I don't consider that useful criteria for a wife. Not saying that, you couldn't have had an office job and whatnot. I'm just saying it's like at least hopefully you had a service job at some point in time. Another thing about jobs in general, that's just the basic minimum, right? When it comes to jobs in general, it's like your job says a lot about you. So that's why if you have a job that's more service based, I respect that more than a job that is more sitting in front of a computer type of thing. So that's why I put it that way. It's like if it doesn't it doesn't matter what your job is. It's not like you have to work at McDonald's to be my one. What I'm saying is like if your job or career is more in the service category where you service people, you benefit people by doing things for people, that is more appealing than a job where you just, like I said, on your phone or on a phone or on a computer or by yourself, barely interacting with other human beings because you're doing a lot of paperwork or something like that's, I don't think, that's not that useful, especially not as a wife. I need somebody who can serve, right? So the next thing would be financial education. So clearly you need to know more about money and about how money works and how society works and how society functions, when it comes to money. Because you don't want to be broke. I don't want to be broke, right? I don't want you to only know how to spend my hard-earned money or spend your hard-earned money if you make money as well. So it'd be good that you're good at stretching money, making money last longer. Good at investments and stuff like that. Always willing to learn how to, maintain wealth, income, resources, assets, whatever, however way you find. Financial education. One, this is a good skill for anybody. We do live in a world, especially in the West. Capitalism, like it's a thing. Right? The world, does function on money. So you being good with money other than spending it is important. So I take that to account, and I like to point that out as well. I've always considered they did this like, when I have a wife and whatnot, I would definitely teach her to be able to make money, to be more responsible with money. I would prefer it to be awesome if she already had these skills. If I put it as a standard that she's good with money, she already knows about CD accounts, high yield savings accounts. She knows about dividend stocks, right? REITs. She knows the term ROI, return on investments, so forth. Like if she knows about money and using money to make money, that's always good. So I don't specifically need a woman who makes money, right? Who spends time, who converts her time for money, right? I'm not really interested in a woman who, wants to spend hours and hours earning money when she could instead let her money make money, for example. That way we can spend more time together with each other, with our kids, and living our lives, and preparing for retirement, because we're going to get to the point where we can't physically work, and we're going to have to retire. Prepare for that kind of stuff. So I look into the future, so I keep an eye on that. Where it's like it's important that we get to the point where we don't need to keep working in order to have money, in order to live our lives. Humans, we live, we work to live. We don't live to work. I don't exist to have a 9 to 5. I don't exist to, to pay bills and stuff like that. This is just stuff we do so we can live our lives. We make money, we pay bills, Netflix and subscriptions and whatnot, right? Electric, water bill and stuff like that, so we can live our lives. But we got to live our lives. That's one of the issues we have in society, is that too many people are not living their lives because they're too busy focusing on paying bills and chasing the bag. Gotta get that bag, make that money. But then they waste it on dumb shit after they work hard, literally spent hours and days and weeks and months and years of their life to earn pay money. And then they spend it on dumb shit like Gucci bags and clothes and hats and dog food and dogs. And like, what? That was a waste. You did all that. You spent all those hours, all those moments of your life, converted it to a paycheck just to spend it on some dumb shit that you really didn't need that bad. And you know what? But I'm not going to get into the system of society when it comes to finance. It's just be financially educated is what I'm saying. So the next thing will be survival skills. Basic survival skills. Like I mentioned before, is like, stuff like first aid, fishing, hunting, camping. Camping skills. Just it's a good idea to learn these things. You can learn financial education. You can learn about, dividend stocks and stuff like that, savings accounts, and making money with money and passive income and all that good stuff through YouTube. So get educated, ladies. Learn that stuff. And these things, these standards are things you're bringing to the table. So these are not the only things you can bring to the table, but these are at least some basic stuff you can bring to the table for a relationship, especially to your wife. Basic skills, like I said, first aid. Go on YouTube and learn, right? That's the thing. You have access to the internet. You can Google a lot of these things. You can learn to be a wife. Some women, out here, I've been seeing on podcasts talking about that they don't. Their parents, their mom didn't teach them how to be a wife, blah, 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 or some other stuff. Or society doesn't teach them, or extra stuff. It's like, the information out there. There's literally books about being a wife. There's books, there's YouTube videos about being wives. There's podcasts. This is a podcast about being a wife. So I'm doing my best to help. But you got to understand, like, the information out there, you're just not looking for it. Like I said, being a wife is a choice. You choose to be a wife. Since I was a little kid, I chose, that, I'm going to be a husband. I'm going to be a father, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be rich and blah, blah, blah. Like, what I'm doing now in my life is stuff I chose when I was a kid. So like when I was 5 or 6 or some shit like that. So for women now, they're talking about like, well, I don't know nothing about being no wife. And this answer is like, wow, the concept of a wife, the word wife, but you didn't know you could choose it. You didn't know you needed to prepare for it. You thought being a wife is just you find a man, get with him, and then he marries you, and then bang, that makes you wife. So you know about the title of a wife, you just don't know about the requirements for that. So wife is a job, right? It exists. Something you can do in your life as a woman, but didn't know that you have to work for it. You have to get skills for it. You have to have there's requirements for it, and there's standards for it. There's like you gotta have skills for it. And so we're really like, and it's like, but obviously you didn't look to see if you needed skills, that you needed to train and learn to be a wife. Most guys spend their whole life learning to be a husband by default, and it's weird that women are not learning to be wives by default. The whole saying, better late than never, but it's really important, y'all ladies, learn sooner than later to get your shit together. You want to be a wife, you got to start early. It's just like if you want to be a millionaire, you got to start, learning how to become a millionaire at a young age. Before the age of 14, I was already figured out how I'm going to become, a millionaire. But then over time, I was like, I can actually go beyond that. I can become a billionaire, and I'm working on that. Right? I'm already in my financial path to my infinite riches, as it were. So I can definitely reach the billionaire status. It's more about when, not if. It's definitely becoming a billionaire is not difficult. It's just a matter of when. So I'm already on my path for that. So being a wife is, again, it's a choice. So put the effort towards it. So basic skills. There's YouTube videos out there. There's books about it. Go learn something. Find somebody that can teach you. It's just there's no excuse, especially in this day and age. We got Google, YouTube. got a Skillshare. I wish I had Skillshare sponsorship. That would have been nice. I'd be like, share Skillshare sponsorship. You can learn how to be a wife and this and that there through Skillshare. Because of all the things you can learn on it, right? That would be badass, but I don't have that. But that's the thing. Is like the information's out there, right? You know, there's master classes for everything and anything. YouTube, you know, if you don't got money, you don't want to pay for skills, right, to learn to be a wife, you can watch YouTube videos and learn to be a wife, you know, learn skills. Because, you know, to be a wife is not just, you know, wife stuff per se. It's more of like skills that are useful that you can use to help somebody else. That's why first aid is an important skill, for example, right? Because if somebody else gets hurt, your ability to help them after they get hurt, that's useful. You know, being able to cook is useful in case somebody else is too tired to cook. They want to eat, they need to eat, they need sustenance, but they're so tired from work that they don't feel like moving and doing anything, but they're hungry, and humans need to eat. So making your husband a sandwich, for example, is a good human thing to do. But you know, some women don't like the whole sandwich scenario apparently, even though that's a very skillless job or a very skillless activity. But it has a great importance. You know, when you want a sandwich, and I'm capable of doing it, you know, and I got nothing better to do, obviously, right? I'll make you a sandwich. Or at least, if I'm not going to make it, I'll just order you one. You know, like, all right, let me hit up Uber Eats or DoorDash and just order you a sandwich. Have somebody else make it and bring it to you, right? If I'm not going to do it myself, but frankly, it's not difficult. And more likely, I already have sandwich pre-built in the refrigerator anyway, so it's like, you're just really not making me a sandwich, you're just bringing it to me. It's like, hey, I got a hoagie in the fridge, can you bring it to me, and can you bring me like a can of energy drink or something, because I'm tired, I need energy, I'm about to go to the gym or something, then that'd be appreciated that you bring me the sandwich and the drink. Make my life a little easier, because I definitely make your life easier. I know that's a fact. Anyway, right now we're at self-defense, right? So self-defense, defend yourself, it's very important. You know, one, again, it's for yourself, right? Your body, your choice. So choose to defend yourself. Don't let somebody else, you know, hurt you, right? Whether it be male, female, animal, an alien, cartoon character, whatever. Defend yourself, right? Also the ability to defend others, obviously. If you're taking our child somewhere, it'd be nice that you can defend our child, right? Because I won't always be there to do it to myself. So it'd be nice that you can defend yourself, defend our kids. I'm human, you know, I have my limits. If I get attacked by 3 people, 3 guys or whatever, you know, it would be nice to get some type of assistance. You know, maybe you can pick up some heavy, you know, some like a heavy object or something, and you know, start whacking away at somebody. You know what I mean? Give me give me some type of assistance so I can, you know, try to control the situation better and make it where we can be in a better position where we both survive, right? That's all I'm saying. It's like defend yourself, and hopefully you can defend me and our kids in the process, because it's us against the world. That's another thing. Most women don't even think when they get in a relationship with a man that it's a us against the world thing. They literally will make it where it's it's us versus us, right? Man versus woman, like, and that's unfortunate. It's like that's not why we exist. Men and women do not exist to fight each other, to battle each other. We exist to be with each other, right? So let's work on that. Let's be better at that. Let's do better. Then we got last thing, health and fitness. I just put it together. You know, eating healthy, cooking. You know, obviously, cleaning. Just cleaning. You know, let's prevent coronavirus. You know, sanitation, stuff like that. So cooking, cleaning, very important. You want to make sure that you're not eating viruses and deadly bacteria and stuff like that. You don't want to be eating stuff that has poison in it. Like, you know, if it turns out that your favorite chocolate bar, you know, has a small trace of like, you know, cement or rat poison or something like that, you might want to stop eating it. I mean, one is that you shouldn't be eating it because it's a product, it's not food. If it's not fruits and vegetables or meat, you shouldn't be eating it anyway. But I digress. The point is that if you do, you know, eat a Snickers bar from time to time, I so be it, teach them. And I'm not saying Snickers specifically has cement or rat poison in it. Just, you never know. That's the thing. It's a product. It's not something natural. If you're religious, I'm going to use this term. Well, if God didn't make it, you shouldn't be eating it, right? You know what I'm saying, ladies? Yes. God did make the vagina, so I'll leave it at that. So the point is, if God didn't make it, you shouldn't be eating it. So, again, being healthy. And the main thing is being healthy. Healthiness leads to happiness, energy, strength, longevity. You want to live long. You want to make sure not only you are healthy, but your kids are healthy. So you want to teach them healthy habits. You want to make sure that they can live long, healthy lives, long, happy lives. Because even with my younger siblings, my brothers and sisters, of course, from time to time, you know, because even I have the enjoyment of, you know, candy and chocolate and stuff like that. I don't want to deprive them of the ability to partake in those types of luxuries, like those things, like cookies and candy and stuff like that. But at the same time, I always push the healthiness of, you know, eating stuff like apples, bananas, and stuff like that. And push healthier foods. You know, show them try to be creative. You know, sometimes I'll do stuff like, hey, look, let's put some peanut butter on some apples, make it delicious, and they'll eat it and they'll like it. Like, oh yeah, it tastes amazing. Yes, it tastes amazing, but it's also healthy. Ain't that ironic, right? As opposed to just like, here's some cookies, here's some chocolate, here's some cake. You know, like on average, whenever cake is around, it's usually at like on birthday or something. Like, hey, it's your birthday, have some cake, enjoy some cake and ice cream, right? Make it special. Make it where, like, when you do eat cake, for example, it's usually at certain points in the year in your life, like birthdays. I like having birthday cakes. I can admit that. I'm a fat kid who likes cake, right? So, but I definitely try to make sure that when I do eat cake, it is mostly like on my birthdays or something, or at somebody's birthday. I try not to eat cake all the time. Obviously, that's not good for my health. So being healthy, fitness, you know, being fit is not necessarily skinny. This was just a random image. I mean, I like what I see here in this image, but the point is like, fit does not necessarily mean skinny. You know, it's beauty's an eye of beholder. So if you look good to me, bigger, that's what matters. How much you weigh on a scale is not that big of a deal. You could be 400 pounds. And if for some reason you're 400 pounds but still look like this thin lady in this image that I'm looking at that you're probably not seeing unless you're on YouTube, yeah. Okay, awesome. You weigh 300 pounds on the scale, but you look like you don't weigh 300 pounds. That's fine. Right? I'm not against, you know, thicker women. It's just that you gotta be thick in the right places. You gotta have an hourglass figure, right? You gotta be thick in the right places, right? So for me personally, the three things on your body that can be plus size is your lips on your face, your tits, and your ass. That's just my viewpoint. Everything else, I prefer it to be slimmer than your tits and ass. That's what I'm saying. If you have big boobs and big butts, everything else can be bigger, just not bigger than your tits and ass. That's all I'm saying. You don't have that hourglass figure. You shouldn't look round or like Jabba the Hutt. Now, if there's guys out there that like Jabba the Hutt bodies, like women who are extremely big, hey, I'm not against it. You know, to each their own. It's just that not my cup of tea, as they say. Not my preference. I like thick women, but I prefer thinner women for the fact that if after they get pregnant, so that they start having kids, they're more likely going to put on weight. So they're going to go from thin to thick. So I'd rather have, you know, be with a woman that's thinner, so that way after she has kids, she'll become thick, as opposed to a woman who already is thick, and then she starts having kids, and then she goes into the obese fat category. And, you know, I don't prefer that. So there's that. But when it comes to fitness, the other thing about fitness is that you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to be skinny. Right? You don't have to be skinny to be fit. You know, you just gotta make sure that you maintain. Because if I liked you, let's say you were 200 pounds, and you were thick. That's the definition, right? You were thick. Okay, maintain it. Stay thick. Since I liked you when you were thick, don't get skinny. Right? But also don't get fat, right? Don't get bigger. Don't get bigger, don't get smaller. If I liked you when you were thick, then maintain it. Stay thick. That's all. That's my version of fitness, is stay where I like you. If I liked you when you were thick, then stay there. If I like you when you're skinny and you can maintain that, then stay there. I'm flexible with that situation. You could go from thick to fat depending on the situation. It just depends. Because there's some women who, you'll classify as fat, but they wear it very well. So I'm flexible on that. But I like to, that's better safe than sorry category. I'd rather a woman be putting effort to be in good shape, right, in a feasible shape that I like, than to just be lazy to a point where it could get out of control, which just her body ends up in a way that's like, yeah, I no longer like what I'm seeing, and I can obviously create a calm in that situation, that no longer look the way that I like, and because it's not different than if I went from being a billionaire to suddenly being broke. You're not going to see me the same way, right? Because one of the things you liked was the fact that I was a billionaire, right? And suddenly go from billionaire to broke, as in having no money, no more house, no more cars, no more private jets, and all that cool stuff that I had because I was a billionaire. Yeah, you won't find me as attractive, right? If you have that viewpoint where you won't see me the same way, if that was to happen to me, then you have to understand I will see you the same way. If you go from looking a certain type that I like to a type that I don't like, well, you know you're doing it wrong. I do have a type, and all I ask is that I get to enjoy my type, be with my type. Because if I'm your type, all I ask is you be my type in return. And fair is fair. It's not about equality. It's about fair. That's the end of the podcast.